One day the king's guards were walking through the forest and everything was perfectly calm, but suddenly a gigantic dragon of enormous size appeared and began attacking them fiercely. It was far stronger than they were, striking them from every direction, and none of them could resist or stop it. At that very moment, we see a simple farmer named Al, a quiet young man with no ties to trouble, living peacefully on his farm. All he cared about was planting his fields and harvesting his crops, and his produce always grew with the highest quality. He would gather what he reaped, load it onto his cart, and head to the market to sell it. There he discovered that he had already surpassed level 10. While preparing to leave, his friend Testa came to him and said, "Well done, my friend. You are rising from one level to the next at an astonishing speed. If only we had half your luck. Do you remember, Al, when we went hunting and those dangerous fish attacked us? With just one strike, you ended the fight completely. You truly were a mighty man with countless talents." Al smiled as he listened to him, then replied, "You are right, Testa. You reminded me that I should take a look at my evaluation points." He examined them, and the result appeared. 37,612 points. His friend was shocked and said, "It seems you are strong from every side indeed." But Al simply bid him farewell and said he was heading to the market to sell his harvest. On his way with the cart, he was suddenly confronted by the very same dragon that had attacked the guards earlier. It was still flying above, striking at them again while the guards remained powerless before it. Al looked at his hand and found a carrot in it, and he thought to himself, "Perhaps if I throw it, I can drive the beast away from the guards before it kills someone." So he hurled it at the dragon, but the strike came with such overwhelming force that it completely obliterated the creature. Not only that, the carrot's power was so immense that it returned back to him, as though it were a legendary weapon. Even the mightiest nuclear weapons could not have done what it did. The guards stood utterly stunned at what had happened, saying, "We must know how this was possible." But Al carried on his way, not paying them any attention. Nevertheless, the guards noticed the tracks of his cart. By that time, Al had already reached the capital. He presented his entry permit to the guard so that he could pass, but suddenly a man appeared holding the princess hostage, threatening to kill her if the guards did not open the way. Then, in a flash like lightning, Al sprang forward, seized the princess from the man's hands, and saved her. She was shocked by his incredible speed. The criminal tried to attack him with a knife, but Al calmly said, "Rest for a while," and struck him on the head before handing him over to the guards. The princess was dazzled by his bravery and thanked him warmly for saving her life, but he simply replied, "There is no need for thanks," and went on his way, heading to the market to sell his crops, filled with happiness. After finishing his sales, he returned on his way home, but the guards stopped him saying, "You will not pass here." He answered them, "But I showed you my entry permit. There is no problem." Suddenly, the princess appeared and said to him, "You shall not leave before I thank you first." He replied, "My lady, there is no need for thanks. Please allow me to return to my farm." She answered him, "Very well, but what is your name?" He said, "My name is Al." She smiled and said, "Then Al, in short, I want you to become one of our soldiers. You are very strong, and you will be of great use to my father the king's army." But as we know, Al cared for nothing but his farming. So he apologized and said, "Forgive me, your highness, but spare me this duty. I am nothing more than a farmer. I will be of no use to you." He turned to leave, but the princess stopped him and said, "We shall grant you land of 33,000 square meters to cultivate as you please, but stay with us in my father's army." At this, Al grew irritated and said, "What is this? I am beginning to doubt your intentions. You already have thousands of guards and millions of soldiers, yet you come to me alone and wish to recruit me? Am I truly so special?" Before the princess could reply, the guards interrupted, those very same guards who had faced the dragon. At the beginning, the guards were recounting to the princess what had happened to them, how the dragon was on the verge of annihilating them all. But suddenly a mysterious man appeared driving a cart, blew up the dragon before their very eyes, then left with his cart before they could reach him or know his identity. The princess was astonished, and when her eyes fell upon Al, she realized he was the one who had saved them. Yet it was as if he had vanished into thin air, returning to his farm unconcerned with armies or wars, as though none of it mattered to him. Still, he did not leave her thoughts, and she resolved that she must bring him back and make him join the army by any means possible. We then moved to the king of the kingdom, who had gathered his guards. They told him that a fierce attack was on its way. The demons had formed a new alliance and were coming to strike, and it seemed they meant no good. The king was bewildered and said, "This is impossible. Wasn't the demon king slain by our heroes before? Weren't the demons supposed to be finished once and for all?" But his right hand, Cecil, stepped forward and said, "Unfortunately, my liege, the attack is inevitable. The leader of the demons this time is called Romeo, and I suggest that you and the princess leave the kingdom immediately and go somewhere safe, leaving us to face them." The king grew angry and shouted, "Have you gone mad? Do you want me to abandon my people and those who placed me upon the throne?" But Cecil answered, "My lord, this is the wisest choice. If you die, the people will be left without a king to protect them. We want only your safety. Let the war pass, and then return reluctantly." The king agreed and said to his soldiers, "I entrust you with this fight. I will return as quickly as I can." And so their conversation ended. We return to Il, who had just arrived home. As he grabbed the door handle, it broke off in his hand, and he muttered, "What a strange day. Did my friend's envy curse me?" He entered the house, and after sitting a short while to catch his breath, he heard knocking at the door. When he opened it, his friend was there, flustered, shouting, "Open quickly, man." Il asked him, "What's wrong? Haven't we had enough trouble today?" His friend replied, "Gather your things quickly. The demon army is coming to attack the village. They will consume everything in their path. We must flee at once." Il was shocked and said, "What a disaster. I haven't harvested my crops yet. Let me check on them first." His friend answered, "Fine, but don't be long. We and all the villagers will be waiting there." Il went to his fields and was relieved to find them untouched. But suddenly, he saw the monsters entering the village. He thought, "Very well, let them fight, and I will escape. Wait, will they leave my harvest untouched? Will they destroy everything I worked for? No, impossible. I will not allow it. I must face them and stop them." We shift back to the king, who was walking with some of his guards, and among them was his right hand, Cecil, who was guiding them along the path. The king asked, "Are you sure about this road?" The princess spoke up, "Father, I know this path well. I have passed here before. It is blocked at the end," and indeed they soon reached its end, where they found it closed. At that moment, the king realized the bitter truth. It was betrayal, and treachery showed clearly on Cecil's face. The guards tried to attack him, but he struck them down one by one with lethal blows. Then he turned to the king and said, "You are such a fool. Did you not realize that I was never your servant? I am the demon Romeo in disguise. Now it is time for your death and your daughter's as well." One guard tried to stand in his way but was slain with a single strike. Then Romeo continued, "Prepare yourself. You will die now. After your death, I will take your form and deceive your people. Then all will unfold exactly as I desire." He prepared a massive strike to finish the king, but the latter summoned a protective shield and declared, "I am still in full strength." Yet the shield shattered quickly, for Romeo's power was far greater. Even when the princess tried to intervene, she could do nothing, as Romeo broke every barrier and was ready to end both their lives. But suddenly, without warning, Il appeared, standing like thunder before Romeo, blocking his strike with a single hand so powerful that the ground split beneath his feet. The demon trembled and asked, "Who are you, in the name of hell?" Il calmly answered, "I am just a simple farmer." Romeo screamed, "What? A farmer with such power?" Then his rage grew and he shouted, "You will regret standing in my way." He hurled himself with full force to attack Al, but Al countered with overwhelming might, striking him so hard that he was flung against the wall. Enraged, Romeo revealed his true terrifying form and exclaimed, "I underestimated you. What is this? Your level is 78. He prepared his strongest strike to finish him off, but with a single punch, Al knocked him to the ground. When the demon horde saw what had happened to their leader, terror filled their hearts, and they fled in panic. As for Romeo, his end came at the hands of the simple farmer, and thus the day was finished. The next morning, the king thanked Al for his great help and said to him, "You must become one of my men." But Al answered with a calm smile, "No, my lord, I love to remain a farmer as I am. Farming is my life." The king was astonished and said, "Man, you would be one of the king's men, and still you tell me you will remain a farmer?" But his daughter intervened and said, "Leave him, father. Do not force him into anything. I already offered him to work with us before, but he refused. At least let him accept the land of the kingdom as a simple gift. This is the least we can do to thank him." Then she added, "One last request, Al. Just register your name on the list of warriors, so that if another fierce attack happens, we can join hands with you and face it together." Il replied, "Very well, my lady. I agree only for the sake of the land." But when he saw the land, he was shocked, for he found it to be a barren desert with no plants and no water, and he realized that farming it would take a miracle. The next day, he was walking with the princess in the market. She had disguised her appearance, and he invited her to eat. He said to her, I hope you will like my food, Your Highness the princess. But she whispered to him, lower your voice. I want to act like ordinary people, and I do not want anyone here to know that I am the princess. As for disguise, do not worry. I am wearing this magical pin, and no one will recognize me. Il smiled and thought to himself, is this really a pin of concealment? After that, they entered the Warriors Guild. The man in charge there had already heard of his heroics and welcomed him warmly, then sent him to the receptionist, whose name was Helen, to register his name among the kingdom's warriors. Helen invited the farmer to eat, and they sat talking. She said to him, I am confused. How can a simple farmer join the ranks of the warriors? He answered, they gave me a piece of land in exchange for fighting monsters. Honestly, I was too shy to refuse. At that moment, the guards who had once faced the dragon came and said to him, we are amazed by you. We learned that you were the one who killed the dragon with a single strike. The people present were astonished and all eyes turned to him. But he said humbly, my friends, I am just a farmer. By chance I threw a carrot at it, and that was the end. After that, Il met the rest of the guards, and they were overjoyed that he had joined them, alongside his farming. He then spoke again with Helen, who explained to him the levels of the warriors. The lowest rank is G, and you rise until you reach S, which is the rank of heroes. He smiled and said to her, if people are amazed by me now, how will they react when I reach the rank of heroes? She then gave him his list of tasks and said, your task is to gather 10 herbs called King. You will find them in Grim Forest. He said, yes, these herbs are used in the healing potions that the warriors drink. But what if someone attacks me in the forest? She said, do not worry. Take this magical cloak. It will make the monsters unable to see you. He replied, then excuse me. I shall go and collect what you have requested. As he was leaving, he said to the princess, your disguise was impressive, but sadly you cannot accompany me. This is a dangerous mission in a forest full of monsters, and I myself am afraid of them. If you came with me, I would only cause you harm. Then he went into the forest and gathered 9 herbs quickly. Only one remained, but suddenly he saw before him a strange emblem he had never seen before. And he remembered that the paper he carried mentioned that the forest was inhabited by demons who possessed wild instincts that drove them to mate either with their own kind or even with humans. Suddenly, a demoness appeared before him and said, you must marry me, boy. Al froze in shock and said, marry you? I am afraid of you in the first place. But at that moment, one of the guards arrived and ended her life with a single sword strike. He said to him, steady yourself, man. You must be tougher. Il answered, forgive me. I tremble before demons, and I do not know how to fight them. Then the rest of the guards arrived and said to him, you will get used to this. It is only your first day. How will you act when you face something worse? He answered, enough with the fear. Anyway, I found this emblem, but I do not know to whom it belongs. One of them said, this emblem is very rare, and it is said to belong to the Black Dragon, that dragon which is seldom seen by anyone. You can sell it and earn a great fortune. Then they said, let us return to the city, for night is about to fall. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them, as though it were an earthquake, and out of the darkness appeared the Black Dragon, majestic and immense, intent on destroying them. Everyone froze in their places, unable to move, but the surprise was that the dragon did not notice them and simply passed by. Al whispered, it is good that it did not look at us. If it had attacked, our end would have come instantly. That night, Helen was asleep and she dreamed that she was killed inside the forest. She awoke terrified and said, I hope the coming days will pass safely. The next morning, she went to her work in sorrow and said, I want to remember what happened to me in the past, for I have lost my memory. At that moment, Al came and informed the Warriors Guild about what he had seen of the Black Dragon. He said to them, its strength ranges between 200,000 and 300,000. If it decides to attack the city, it will completely destroy it. They were all shocked, for it seemed to be the strongest dragon in the land. As for Helen, she felt distressed and said, I must recover my memories quickly. I feel that I am connected to this dragon. Al then said, I found the emblem there, and it does indeed belong to the dragon. At that moment, Helen was struck with shock and began to recall old memories. She remembered running with her brother in the forest when the dragon appeared, terrifying beyond measure, and suddenly she lost consciousness. When they took her back to her home, the woman who had raised her sat with them and said to Il, what is this cloak you are wearing? He answered her, this cloak was given to me by Helen. She said to him, you must know that this girl lost her memories since she was young. She remembers nothing except her name. This cloak was with her when we found her 15 years ago by the river. so my husband and I adopted her. Il said, I am certain that the dragon is connected to what happened to her in the past, and I will search for the truth myself. She replied, No, my son. You cannot search alone, for you are not a legendary warrior. But he said to her, Leave the matter to me. I will go to the forest and look for any clue, but if you insist, give me these healing recipes. They may help if something happens to me. Yet Il was not satisfied and went to the library to search for any information about the dragon. He said, If I was able to defeat Romeo, then facing this dragon will not be impossible. But I must learn what happened 15 years ago. When he asked the librarian to give him what he sought, she refused and said, You have no authorization. He replied, My lady, please help me. At that moment, the princess herself entered and said, Do for him what he wants. His requests are my orders. The librarian then led him inside so he could begin his search for the truth. As soon as Il took hold of the book, he discovered that a merchant had once visited a village, and the moment he entered it, the entire place was destroyed. The survivors of the massacre saw the emblem of the dragon. It was written that this dragon had died long ago, but the truth was that the dragon was still alive, which meant it would return to destroy again, just as it had done 15 years earlier. Al was shocked and hurried with the princess toward the village that had been destroyed by the dragon, confident that he would find some clue there. Indeed, he came upon a grave, and suddenly a ghostly boy rose from it and said, Welcome, man. Only you can see and hear me because you wear my cloak. Yes, I am Helen's brother. The princess looked at him with confusion and said, Are you talking to yourself? He answered, No, it is a ghost before me, but you cannot see him. Then he let her wear the cloak as well, and when she did, she too saw the ghost and grew unsettled. But Il told her, Be silent, let us listen to his story. The boy began to speak. My name is Ray, and I will tell you what happened. Long ago, I lived with my sister in a beautiful village, but the dragon suddenly attacked and destroyed it all. My sister's life is in danger now, and you must save her. He began to recall the past. His sister had once looked for him and found him training with a sword in the forest until he fell and twisted his leg. She warned him, Be careful. Training requires calm, not recklessness. But he answered, That is none of your concern. I will keep training my way until I become a great warrior who can protect you. But while they spoke, the dragon attacked the village, and with a single strike burned an entire street. They hurried back home to find it destroyed and their family killed. The dragon appeared before their mother and the children. The boy tried to stand against it to protect his mother, but the dragon devoured them all, for it fed on souls. Helen cried, Let us run. They fled through the forest with all their strength, but the dragon pursued them and said, Where are you running? Do you not know that I am hungry? Helen fell, exhausted, unable to move, and the dragon was about to kill her. But her brother rushed forward bravely and struck its eye with his sword. Though the strike did not harm the dragon, it drew its attention away from her. He stood before it with courage and declared, I am her older brother, and no matter what, I will protect her. The dragon raged and said, I will leave your soul in this land for one purpose. After 15 years, I will kill your sister before your eyes. I will let you watch her die so that you may taste torment. Then it vanished, while Helen was left choking in grief over her brother's death. The boy finished his tale and said to Al, Now you see what happened 15 years ago, and the time has come for the dragon to kill my sister. First, he torments her with nightmares and fills her mind with terrifying illusions until he controls her and draws her to the forest. You must stop him by any means. Remember, negative energy increases his power. It is his food. If you stand before him in fear, his strength will grow, but if you challenge him, it will weaken. The only way to defeat him is for Helen to stop being afraid. Al was moved and said, Do not worry, I promise I will protect her and let nothing harm her. He hurried with the princess, saying, I must see what I can do. The princess told him, Go and save the girl. I will prepare the soldiers for war. At that moment, the dragon had already seized Helen's mind and drawn her into the forest. There it appeared before her in a terrifying form. The moment she saw it, she remembered everything from 15 years ago, and she saw the image of her brother dying to protect her. She was overwhelmed with sorrow and guilt and said to the dragon, Here I am before you. Kill me if you want. I am tired of my miserable life. And if you do not, I will kill myself now. She lifted a knife to stab herself. The dragon laughed. ready to consume her soul. But at the last moment, Al appeared and saved her, saying, "What happened was not your fault." Before he could continue, the dragon struck him with a mighty blow and hurled him far away, but he wore the magical cloak which protected him. The dragon was surprised and said, "How are you still alive after that strike?" Al answered, "Come closer, and you will know." He rushed at him and delivered a massive strike, thinking it had ended his life. But the dragon rose again and said, "You will not escape. I will kill her before your eyes." It attacked furiously, raining down blows, but Il did not surrender. Though badly wounded, he carried Helen and fled to protect her. Along the way, he reminded her of her brother and said, "He entrusted you to me. He said you were not the cause of his death. Do not let fear control you little by little." She regained her senses while the dragon's strength weakened, but the dragon realized this and rushed to finish him. Al faced it with one final powerful strike that ended its life. Al stood catching his breath and said to Helen, "It is over." But suddenly she stabbed him with a knife, saying, "Yes, it is over." Al was shocked and tried to drink from a healing bottle he carried, but it fell from his hand. She tried to attack him again, but he stepped back and said, "Why are you doing this?" She did not stop and tried to kill him once more. At the last instant, before she could drive the knife into his chest, a great white dragon appeared, the dragon of good, come to save mankind. The white dragon said, "The girl is no longer in her senses. The black dragon controls her." Then the voice of the black dragon spoke from within her. "So, you uncovered me early. I wanted to enjoy myself a little longer, but no matter. You both will die here together." The white dragon said, "I will not let you kill her. And as for you, Al, I shall grant you my power to heal her and face him." And indeed, the white dragon gave its power to Al before falling unconscious. Al stood before the black dragon, who laughed and said, "You cannot touch me, for I dwell within her body." But Al charged at him with strength, striking blow after blow until the dragon screamed and manifested again in its true form. The two clashed in violent battle. The black dragon tried to read Al's mind and control him, but was shocked to find his mind empty except for soil and a farming hoe. The dragon faltered and said, "What is this? What nonsense is this?" At that moment, the white dragon regained consciousness and joined the fight. Together with Al, they attacked fiercely until they destroyed the black dragon once and for all. The dragons vanished from the place. But after the battle, both Al and Helen had gained the power of dragons. He inherited the power of the white dragon, and she inherited the power of the black dragon. They could transform into dragon form whenever they wished. Then Helen said, "I thank you for bringing me my brother's message. I wanted to end my life because I could not save him. But after his words, I feel at peace. I realize now that I still have a life I must live." At that time, everyone arrived at the place and rejoiced because Helen was safe and sound. They also thanked Al for standing alone against the dragon, saying to him, "This is how we always want you to be, achieving new victories." Then they all sat together, celebrating this great triumph. But while they were still rejoicing, Al remembered that tomorrow he must harvest the potatoes. He left them immediately and went away. The princess said to him, "Will you not rest a little? Is farming the only thing on your mind?" He answered with a smile, "My lady, this is the life I love, and no one has the right to decide my concerns." Thus the day ended in this way. The next morning, he went with his friend Testa to the land. His friend said to him, "Well done, hero. Your victories are spoken of across the entire kingdom." Al replied, "These are only simple matters, and I am sure the hardest is yet to come." At that moment, Rex arrived and said, "Your mother has sent another letter." Al looked at him in surprise. "How does my mother always know my location? I came to these lands to distance myself for a while, so how do her letters reach me so easily?" Rex smiled and answered, "That is my profession. Take the letter and let me go." Al sat with his friend and read the letter. His mother had written, "How are you, my son? I miss you very much. I want to see you. Do you not plan to return to live with us? Your father and I are waiting for you with longing hearts." Al said to his friend, "I am tired of my mother's insistence. I left the village because of her excessive care. I love farming, but she does not want me to work in it." He then left his friend and went to the market, where he wandered for a while until he stopped at a tomato seller. He was delighted by their appearance, and not only did they look beautiful, but their taste was among the best he had ever experienced in his life. He rejoiced and said to the seller, "Where did you get these tomatoes? They are cultivated with great care. I want to know how to plant them." The seller answered, "I did not plant them myself. I brought them from the city of Lorgos. Il was shocked, for that was the village of his father and mother. Not knowing what to do, he went to Helen and requested leave so he could return to his village and visit his parents, claiming that he missed them. But the truth was that he only wanted to discover the secret of cultivating those tomatoes, while also checking on his mother, who never stopped sending letters. As he left, he found Princess Val wanting to accompany him. He said to her, "No, this journey I must take alone. I will introduce you to my father and mother later, but not now." He left her and continued, and his path passed through grim forest. As he walked, he dreamed of reaching the village and discovering the way to grow those delicious tomatoes, wishing it would come true. But suddenly, a demon appeared before him. Il was terrified and said, "What do you want from me? Will you harm me?" The demon replied, "I want to be your friend." Il screamed, "Stay away from me," and fled quickly. As you know, each demon has a different instinct. Some crave marriage, others play with their tails, and so on. While Il was drowning in fear, a girl named Rory appeared and struck down the demon with one blow. She said to him, "Get up and be brave." "Why are you so afraid?" he replied. "I tremble before demons, but thank you for saving me. Without you, I would not have known what to do. And by the way, I am a strong warrior." She smiled and said, "Never mind. My name is Rory." They sat and talked for a while, and Rory discovered that they were heading to the same village. She said, "If that is the case, let us travel together. We will keep each other company, and if a demon or monster appears, I will kill it easily." Il agreed, and they set out together. They walked long through the forest until they felt something strange, preparing themselves for an attack. Suddenly, Rex appeared again and said, "How are you, hero? I have been searching for you everywhere. Anyway, here is another letter from your mother." Il almost lost his mind and shouted, "I am exhausted from my mother's letters. What is this endless flood of messages?" Then he smiled in the end. "In the first and last, she is my mother. What else can I do?" Night came, so they decided to camp in the forest for safety. They lit a fire and sat eating together. Il asked Rory why she was going to the village. She said, "I am training myself to face monsters so that I may become a legendary warrior. I heard rumors from traders that there are demons in the village, so I will go to exterminate them." They spent time talking, and then slept. In the morning, they continued their journey until they reached the village. There, they parted ways because each had a different destination. Il said, "When we return, we will meet again and come back together." Rory was happy and said, "Agreed. Give me the map so I can mark the inn where I will stay." She pointed out the place for him. Then, they separated. As for Rory, the first thing she did was ask the villagers about the demons that had been seen. But to her surprise, everyone gave the same answer. "There are no demons here." She did not believe them and said, "Someone must have seen a demon." Then she heard the cry of a little girl. She went to her and found her saying, "A demon kidnapped my younger sister and went in that direction. Please save her." Rory reassured her, "Do not worry. Your sister is safe." At that moment, someone was watching her from afar. As for Al, he arrived at his family's home. Just as he was about to knock, the door opened before him. His mother embraced him with great joy, taking him around the village and holding him so tightly she nearly broke his back. She had always loved him so much that her painful affection became a real truth. While he was in her arms, his father came out, saw him, and shouted furiously, "Are you hugging my wife, you fool? I will kill you." His mother was surprised and said, "This is our son, man. It seems you are in trouble." She took him inside and struck him herself left and right. Al thought to himself, "Is this a mad family? Truly, I was right to run away from you." After that, Al sat with his family to eat, resting from his long journey. They talked for a while and caught their breath. Then he went into his room and sat with his father, asking him about the fertilizers he had come for, and told him everything about the tomatoes he wanted to plant. His father said, "Very well, my son, I will show you where the fertilizers are. Bring me the map you carry so I can mark them for you." While looking at the map, the father asked in surprise, "What is this place you marked here?" Al answered, "This is my friend Rory. She pointed out to me the inn where she will stay until we return to the village together." His father said, "An inn? My son, there are no inns at all in this village." Al replied, "Perhaps a new inn was built recently." But the father answered seriously, "I am telling you there are no inns here at all." Al grew even more puzzled and said, "How can that be? The girl came here to stay in the inn until she finishes her task of hunting demons." His father went silent for a moment, then said, "There are no demons in this village either. And if there were, your mother?" He suddenly stopped speaking. Al said, "Finish, father. Why did you stop?" He replied, "Nothing. Go now and rest." Al felt something mysterious, but he did not want to press further, so he ended his day. The next morning, he woke full of energy and decided to look for Rory to know her true story. As he walked through the village, he heard a crowd gathered around a man shouting, "A demon attacked me!" But suddenly a girl with blue hair appeared and began fighting it. "Luckily, I managed to escape." Al hurried to ask him about the place of the battle. The man showed him the way and he rushed quickly. But once Il had gone, the man gave a sly smile and snapped his fingers. Instantly, the houses and the people around him vanished. It had all been illusions. Yes, I had entered the illusion forest. Inside that forest, he saw a terrified girl being attacked by monsters. He rushed toward her and destroyed the monster with a single strike, but he was surprised for he felt no resistance, and yet the monster exploded the moment he touched it. He cried out, "What is happening to me?" The girl said to him, "Thank you, you are truly a hero. But know that everything you see now is not real." Al was shocked and asked, "What do you mean?" Suddenly the girl herself transformed into a huge monster. He was shaken, and the beast was about to strike him. But at the last moment, Rory arrived and dealt it a decisive blow, killing it. She said, "Well done for coming. We are now in the illusion forest. Be very careful, for most of what you see here is not real, and the monsters can take human form. I have spent a full day fighting them, and they still have not ended." Suddenly, the man who had led them here appeared. Rory froze and said, "It is the merchant who told me there were demons in the village." But he laughed wickedly and said, "Fool! Did you not notice that every villager told you there were no demons here?" Then suddenly a woman appeared, saying a demon had kidnapped her sister, and still you believed it? All of this was my game to trick you and bring you here. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Loki. From the beginning, my target was you, Al. He continued with mockery. You defeated one of the Demon King's commanders, Romeo, and you also defeated the Black Dragon. But you will never defeat me, for I am not like those worthless creatures you destroyed. And now, which of you will die first? Rory rushed to attack him, but with a single strike he knocked her to the ground. Al ran to her and tried to heal her with healing magic. Loki was astonished and said, "So, you have healing magic as well? Then come." He attacked him confidently, but Al blocked him and hurled him against a tree. Loki rose quickly, and Al dodged his strikes, but one powerful blow sent him crashing to the ground. Though Al's attacks did not harm him much, they left him with a small wound. Loki laughed and said, "Even with your weakness, you managed to wound me. But your wound is worthless, for my body heals in seconds." Al rose again and asked him, "What do you want from us? And why am I your first target?" Loki replied arrogantly, "Since you will die knowing. I kill anyone who stands in my way, anyone who prevents me from ruling the world. You two have been nothing but trouble to me, and I must end you. After I kill you, I will go to Helen and destroy her as well, for she gained the power of a dragon, and she too must end." Then he shouted, "Come, my men." Suddenly, demons surrounded the place from every direction. Al tried to fight them, but he rushed first to save Rory, for she could not move. Just before one demon struck her down, she suddenly rose and cut him with her sword, sending him flying away. Al smiled and said, "Well done." He hurried to help her, but the demons multiplied around them, and one of them struck Rory with a grievous wound. Al stood before them, trying to hold on, but he grew weaker and weaker, and nearly lost hope. Loki laughed scornfully and said, "It is over, Al. You will die now. And you, Rory, I will finish with my own hands." Rory looked at him with sorrow and said, "Forgive me. I could not protect you, nor even myself." Then she remembered her childhood, how everyone mocked her, saying she would never become a hero. But her parents once told her, "Do not listen to anyone. Believe in yourself, my daughter. Your talent will appear when you truly need it." At that moment the demon was about to kill Rory, when suddenly he was shocked to see Al still alive. He cried out, "How did you survive the strike you received?" Al rose with strength and attacked him without hesitation, but the demon stepped back mockingly. "Your blows will not harm me." Rory watched in astonishment, unable to believe that he was still alive, nor that she herself had witnessed him kill all those demons, all of it just to defend her and those he loved. Then she remembered all who had once told her she was weak, and she screamed inside herself, "No!" She rushed forward with her sword and struck Loki, but he was unharmed. He said to her, "Girl, stop this childish play." But she paid no attention and declared, "I will keep fighting until the end. I will never surrender." Suddenly, a legendary power burst from within Rory, an overwhelming force capable of destroying any enemy before her. Everyone was astonished at her strength that had finally been released. As for Loki, he realized this was his end. Before he could react, she struck him with a decisive blow, as though he had been struck by the train of death, and he fell dead. Al, still amazed, said to her, "Thank you. You saved my life." Rory answered, "No, it is I who should thank you. Without your determination, I would not have discovered the source of my true power, nor taken revenge on that cursed man." But then she noticed he was exhausted, and before she could continue, she found that he had fallen asleep upon her knees from sheer fatigue. She looked at him with admiration and thought, "He is truly brave. It seems my heart has begun to grow attached to him." Thus the day ended. At night, Rory woke him. He opened his eyes and asked, "Is it night already?" She answered, "Yes. You have been asleep since morning, and I did not want to disturb you. I wanted you to rest." He said, "Then let us rise and continue our way." And indeed, they went on together. As they walked, they heard a voice calling Al. They grew cautious. Was it a monster or a demon? But the surprise was that it was his mother, who appeared suddenly saying, "Where have you been, boy?" He was confused and asked her, "Was that you who called out?" Then he turned to Rory and said, "Look behind you," grabbed her, and ran off, unwilling to reveal to her that this woman was his mother, avoiding the situation as always. Later they returned to the inn where Rory was supposed to stay, but they found it did not exist at all. They realized the inn had been a trick by Loki to trap them. They walked for a while, then each chose a separate path, agreeing to meet again the next day. When Al returned home, he found his mother waiting for him, shouting, "Find another place to stay. Get out of my sight, you fool." He was shocked and said, "Did I not leave you in the forest?" He turned around and saw her standing there as well. Terrified, he ran to his room. His father followed, calling, "Open, my son. Your mother will kill me." But Il answered, "Handle it yourself." And the day ended like that. The next morning, he woke to find his father hanging from the clothesline, with his mother clinging to his legs, begging him to stay with them. His father shouted, "Stop these antics!" But she snapped back, "Shut up, you." Then she said to Al, "Stay with us, my son." He answered, "Mother, you know I love farming, and I want to return to my work. Remaining here will not bring me happiness." She said, "Very well, go where you find peace, but return to visit us from time to time." He said, "As you wish." He bid farewell to her and his father, then left. On the road, he met Rory and said to her, "Come, let us continue our way together." So they walked side by side toward the village, speaking as they went. She said to him, "Do you remember what the demon said before he died? He wanted you, and then he said he would kill me and Helen. Why do you think all the demons want to kill you in particular?" He answered, "I do not yet know the truth, but I am certain that everything will soon be revealed." Then they saw a small boy trying to steal some crops from Al's land. Al caught him and said, "What are you doing, little thief?" The boy replied, "Forgive me, I have been hungry and have not eaten for 2 days. I am sorry I stole your crops." Al was angry because his harvest was spoiled, but he pitied the boy and said, "Since you are hungry, I forgive you. Take these fruits also." The child rejoiced, thanked him, and went on his way. Suddenly his thoughts were interrupted by Helen's voice. She said, "You must know what has happened in your absence. The monsters have attacked us many times since you left. Prices have risen, the poor can no longer afford food, and life has become harsh." Even as she spoke, the sound of monsters attacking the kingdom was heard. The king's guards rushed to fight them, but the situation was dire. Each dragon seized a guard and tore him apart, and the beasts spared no one. Helen arrived and transformed into half-dragon form to face them. She fought bravely, but their numbers were overwhelming and she could not endure. A giant cobra appeared and attacked, but Rory arrived at the crucial moment and struck it down with a single blow of her sword. Then Al decided to join the battle. He charged with all his might, destroying all who stood before him without mercy, like a fire that burns everything near it. Gradually, their side began to take control of the fight. Suddenly, knights entered carrying the banner of another kingdom. With them was a young prince holding a sacred sword that had once belonged to the legendary hero. The moment the monsters saw it, they trembled in terror and fled immediately. Everyone was astonished, for no one had known where the sacred sword was, nor how that prince had obtained it. The day ended upon this majestic scene. That night, Il was sitting in his house when he heard a knock on the door. He opened it and found the princess before him, saying, "I have come to bid you farewell." He sat with her in surprise and said, "Bid me farewell? I do not understand anything. Can you explain to me?" She answered, "I have decided to leave this place. Do not ask me the reason, for I will not return again." Before she could finish her words, her maid entered to take her, leaving Il stunned, not knowing the secret of her sudden departure. But he did not take it to heart and said, "Let her do as she wishes." After some time he returned to his work, repeating, "Thanks to the holy sword, the demons no longer attack us. Goods became cheap again, and this made me very happy because the poor can now buy food." The days passed quietly until Rex came to him with a new letter and said, "Man, you have become famous everywhere. Everyone is talking about your cheap and delicious crops." Then he added jokingly, "But know that everyone started selling cheaply because of the holy sword, which stopped the demon attacks." But Il did not laugh. He was shocked when his eyes fell on the newspaper Rex had brought, for he saw that the princess was engaged and was about to marry the prince of the neighboring kingdom, the very same prince who had carried the holy sword in the last battle. Al continued reading his mother's letter and his astonishment grew. She wrote that this marriage was one of interest, and the king was forced to marry off his daughter in exchange for protection of the kingdom. Then Il wondered, how did my mother know all this? He found the answer in the following lines. "Know, my son, that the attacks you suffer are not random. Behind them is a planner. I discovered something strange about the holy sword. There is no holiness in it at all. It is just an ordinary sword forged by a simple blacksmith. Yet demons tremble when they see it, and you will understand the reason soon. And know also something I never told you before, that I was once the head of intelligence, and that is how I easily obtained this information. The one who sends monsters to your city is a demon, but he does not act of his own will. He is forced to obey because his beloved is held hostage by one of the human kings. That is why he sends his soldiers wherever he is ordered. And the one who holds his beloved is none other than the prince who has asked for Val's hand in marriage." Al gasped and said, "Now everything is clear from the beginning. I must save Val no matter the cost." Helen and Rory were astonished and asked, "But how will we enter the castle at all?" Then Rex stepped in with confidence and said, "Do not worry. Leave the matter of entry to me." On the other side, the prince who claimed to carry the holy sword had gathered the kings of the cities around him. They begged him for protection because monsters were still attacking them from time to time, and he alone, so they thought, could stop them. He exploited them mercilessly, demanding more and more. He even thought to himself, "I will unleash the monsters on the rest of the cities so that I may subjugate the entire state under my hand." At this, the demon commander grew angry and said to him, "I will not attack humans anymore. I and my soldiers are tired." The prince grew furious and threatened him, "Do not forget that your beloved is with me. Any disobedience, and I will deliver her head to you. Know your place." The demon was forced to accept against his will. The Princess Val entered and asked him, "Why do you strike your servant with such cruelty?" He answered slyly, "I must appear strict so no one dares belittle me. And do not forget, we will marry tomorrow. Come, let us drink some wine." She showed clear displeasure, for she did not want this marriage at all. Then an invitation to the wedding reached Al and his companions. Their plan was to enter disguised as a musical troupe, preparing for the celebration so that they could slip past the guards. There they discovered that the one who had arranged this was a disguised demon with a kind heart, wishing to stop the bloodshed. He told them that a few demons live among humans in disguise, and that the commander was forced to attack because his beloved was held captive. He also told them that the salvation of the land depended on rescuing her. Il said, "Do not worry. We will save her by any means. Isn't that right, men?" They all answered, "With you, Commander." After that, we see Prince Leyon, who was about to marry Princess Val, walking proudly, rejoicing that he would finally become king and rule any throne he wished after marrying her. She owned the largest part of the kingdom, and marrying her would give him power, wealth, and authority. He approached her arrogantly and flattered her, saying, "You are so beautiful in this dress, my moon." She answered coldly, "Go on, I will follow later." Then she sat alone thinking of her father's words. "My daughter, it is true that Leyon asked for your hand in exchange for protecting us, but it does not matter. Even if demons attack us and we cannot defend ourselves, it does not matter. If you do not wish to marry him, then leave him. I want you to marry the one you love. I do not want to force you into anything, my daughter." But the princess looked to the interest of the people and decided to sacrifice herself for her father and the city. Yet in her heart she whispered, "If only you were here, Il. I would have confessed my love and married you without any obstacles." Meanwhile, everyone was arriving at the hall of celebration, while Il and his companions slipped in disguised in a wagon without being noticed. His two companions tried to disguise themselves, but their appearance was strange, so some mocked them, saying, "What are you doing to yourselves?" But Il said firmly, "That does not matter. What matters now is that we reach the place where the prince holds the demon's beloved and free her. Then we will move directly to the wedding hall to expose him. This traitor Leyon is a cheat worth nothing." As they prepared to move, one guard saw them, recognized at once that they were not men of the castle, and stepped forward to reveal them. Al pretended and said, "We are only farmers." Then he ran, and the guards chased them from every direction. He said sarcastically, "Why are they chasing us like this? Have they never seen farmers hide before? In our village they respected us." At that moment, Helen intervened, lifted him, and hurled him with her power toward the place he wished to reach. There, Al entered the prison, and to his surprise, he found the demon's beloved was a human girl. He rushed to unbind her and save her, but as soon as he tried to leave, the guards charged at him. He summoned the white dragon that protected him, unleashing a violent energy that made him forget all his pain. He fought the guards with strange might, knocking them down one after another. Then he looked to the girl and said, "Come, the situation here has collapsed completely." She answered, "Yes, let us leave quickly." He carried her and ran while the guards pursued them from every side. But Helen and Rory blocked their way and said to him, "Go to the princess and save her. We will deal with the guards." He said gratefully, "I thank you both for your sacrifice. I will never forget it as long as I live." Then he left them to face the soldiers. We return to the princess, as her father held her hand to lead her toward her groom, so that the marriage ceremony could be completed. Everyone was joyful about this union, except the princess herself, who was drowning in sorrow, for she had wished to marry only Al. The ceremony was about to be completed, when suddenly a great sound rang out, as Al stormed into the hall, breaking the church doors, shouting, "Stop, you fools! Do you sit here rejoicing over a false marriage? As for me, I cannot rejoice like you." Then he looked at the princess and said, "Forgive me, for on your wedding day I could not remain silent. Do you think I would let you marry so easily? Never." Then he turned to the crowd and said, "Do not be afraid. This man you call a king is worth nothing, and the sword he holds is not holy as you claim. It is a fake, forged by a simple blacksmith. He himself is the one sending demons to attack your cities so he can exploit you and extort you." At that, Prince Leyon tried to lie before them and laughed mockingly. "Do not believe him. He envies me because he did not win the princess's hand." But the king looked at Il and said, "My son, I love you and I trust you, but we all saw with our own eyes the power of the sword, and we saw how demons trembled before it. How can it be false? You must bring proof." Prince Leyon also challenged Al and said, "Bring proof if you are truthful." Al answered, "I have the proof and I will show you now." But before he could finish, a royal guard burst in, terrified, crying, "My lord! A vast number of demons have attacked the kingdom and we do not know what to do." It seemed the whole matter had been arranged by Al, with the help of Rex, who had been bringing the demons. Everyone in the church panicked and cried, "Save us with your holy sword, Leyon." He tried to remain composed before them and said, "Do not fear." He called for his servant to bring the sword, but when he looked, he saw it beside his beloved, whom Il had freed, and he knew he had lost control of it forever. Rex approached him with a smile and said, "Here, my prince, your sword. Since you are great and strong, take it and strike them all down. Go on, hold it, or do you fear?" At that, Leyon trembled in deep embarrassment. Al spoke before everyone. "You do not dare hold the sword because you know it is fake and worthless. Here is your so-called holy sword." Then he threw it at one of the monsters, which shattered it easily. At that moment, the people were convinced the sword was nothing, and the prince's lies were exposed. The demon ordered his soldiers to retreat and revealed before all the truth of the prince, how he had kidnapped his beloved to exploit her, forcing him to send demons to attack towns, extorting them, taking their wealth, seizing their cities, and gathering endless power. At that moment, Leyon burst into hysterical laughter and said to the king, "Your kingdom is finished. I sent countless monsters to it, and by now it is destroyed." The demon cried in shock, "How? I did not send soldiers." Leyon replied, "I threw their brothers' corpses there and told them that the people of the city had killed them." But at that moment, the kingdom's soldiers entered with the people and declared, "Nothing has happened to our city. Since the last attack, everyone has trained for battle, and now they stand against the monsters." Indeed, the people and the guards stood as one before the demon armies. Whoever came close was struck down immediately. All were fighting, all were striking, and none ran away. Then Leyon realized his plan plan had failed completely. He seized his sword trying to kill the king, but Al blocked his way and said, "Stop, traitor. Do you not know that the power of the dragon I inherited will never fail me? Take this." He struck him with a decisive blow that shattered his head before everyone's eyes. Leyon fell, crying out, "Curse you! My plan was going perfectly until you interfered." Then he breathed his last. At that moment, Princess Val rushed to Al, embracing him, saying, "I love you so much, and I never want to be apart from you. I do not want you to leave me again." Everyone stood stunned at this sight, but Rory burned with anger and shouted, "And what is your relation to her? Any girl who sees you falls in love with you?" Al had no chance to answer, for the king interrupted, thanking him. "Well done, my son. With your courage you saved the kingdom. For this, I approve that you become a prince and marry my daughter." But Il muttered sarcastically, "What are you saying? Leave me alone." Then Rex stepped forward and said, "By the way, the traitor we defeated was receiving orders from someone else, and we must uncover his identity, no matter the cost." But the people were busy celebrating their new victory. They offered Il to remain as a main warrior of the kingdom, but he refused as always and said, "I will remain a farmer. I will never change my work for as long as I live." After that, he left them all and returned to his farm to check his crops and make sure of his harvest. He worked again, happy, but the surprise was that Helen, Rory, and the princess came to him, standing before him saying, "You must tell us now, whom do you love among us? Choose only one." He grew angry and said, "I do not want any of you. Leave me to farm my land in peace." They were astonished by his firm answer, but he did not care and walked away. And here let me tell you the reason why Al refuses any relationship despite their love for him. Since childhood, while he worked in the fields with his father, he was skilled, quick, and loved farming deeply. But his mother was always quarreling with his father. One day, while delivering crops to people, he saw farmers beating a little girl because she had stolen from their fields out of hunger. They said to her, "Surely your parents abandoned you to leave us burdened with trash like you." But the little girl resisted, bit one of them on the hand, and fled. She stole the box of potatoes Al was carrying, and sat eating ravenously, as though she had not tasted food for a year. Al's heart softened, so he brought her more food and approached, saying, "Here, eat." But she panicked, ran away, and left. He smiled and said, "Do not fear, I did not come to harm you. Here is the food before you, and I will leave now so you can eat in peace." At that moment, the little girl was shocked by his kindness. The next day, Al came to the little girl carrying different food this time. She was very happy, for at last there was someone who cared for her and loved her, and she was no longer afraid of him as before. Days passed, years went by, and they grew up together, always side by side, never separating. Il could not endure even a single day without seeing her, and the name of that girl was Olivia. One day, while they were sitting and eating together, some farmers appeared and seized her, saying, "Now we have found you, thief. Today is your black day. We will teach you how to steal our crops." Al was filled with anger and said to them, "Take whatever you want from our harvest, but leave her in peace." Yet they did not listen and said, "Stay back, boy." Olivia was astonished at his stance and his insistence on defending her so strongly. At that moment, Al's father arrived. After hearing the story, he said to them, "If she stole some of your crops, then take this rice as compensation. I believe with this you have gained more than what you lost." The farmers were pleased, took what he gave them, and left. But Al looked at his father and said, "Do you not know the consequences of what you have done?" His father replied, "Do not worry. Your mother will hit me as usual and nothing more will happen." He laughed, accepting his fate. Olivia was sad, feeling she had caused him this trouble. Yet the father decided to let her live with them. Al was overjoyed with his decision. Days and weeks passed, and Olivia became part of the family, helping with the housework, and they all lived together as a happy household. One day, while they were working in the fields, bees attacked another boy, but Al's mother rushed quickly and saved him. That boy was Testa, Al's friend. Al asked him, "Why were the bees chasing you?" He showed him a treasure map and said, "I went into their place and took this map. It shows that the treasure is in our village. Come, let us search for it." Il was delighted and said, "Let us go and look for it." Olivia wanted to go with them, but he refused out of fear for her safety and said, "There may be danger. Stay here." The two of them followed the map until they reached a strange place. Suddenly, Al's foot pressed a stone, and the ground split beneath them, and they fell deep inside. They found themselves in a dark, strange place. There, they saw a rock engraved with incomprehensible words. When Al touched it, a great light burst out, and suddenly a dragon appeared out of nothing, attacked Al, and swallowed him into its body. Then the volcano in that place erupted, and destroyed the entire village. Months passed. After 3 months, Al woke to hear Olivia's voice saying, "At last you have awakened. You slept for 3 whole months." Testa entered, rejoicing at his safety, and said, "Thanks be to God for your well-being." Al asked him, "Were you not with me in the forest?" He replied, "Yes, but the volcano erupted and destroyed the village, and its people abandoned their homes and camped far away." Then Testa hurried to his family, while Al continued searching for his own family, not knowing where to find them, still suffering from a strange wound, and not understanding how he had survived from the dragon's belly. As for Olivia, she was the only one who cared for him all that time. She tried to steal food for his sake, but remembered what had happened to her the last time she stole, and decided to refrain. The next day, the people distributed a little food to everyone, for little remained with them. But Al needed double the food to regain his strength. Olivia decided to give him her share without telling him. Every day she did this, until she grew very weak. One day, she collapsed in the road from hunger and exhaustion, and her life ended. Testa arrived and told Al what had happened. He rushed quickly to her and found she had died, for she had sacrificed her food for him. He stood shocked, unable to believe it, drowned in deep sorrow. Recalling their memories together, he said to himself, "When they called for departure, I asked them, after the place has become sweet, will they leave? They did not answer. Silence was the most painful reply." At that moment, his parents arrived, but he could see nothing before him except Olivia. His heart was shattered by her loss, and he swore to continue farming and grow the most beautiful crops, for she had loved planting. From that time on, Al's heart remained tied to Olivia, refusing any other girl no matter how much they tried to come close to him, for he could not forget his first love nor her sacrifice. The next day, Al went out to his land to continue his farming and to keep himself busy with work so he could avoid thinking. He found that the tomatoes had ripened fully, and he rejoiced greatly, for his crops had grown excellently, with a taste he had dreamed of for a long time. But suddenly, the girls gathered around him under the excuse of helping in the farm, though the truth was that they only came to stay near him. After a while, he left them and went to sell his harvest. He stood in the market selling tomatoes, and the people rushed to buy them because they were cheap and at the same time delicious. At that moment, a man in disguise came to buy tomatoes, but he had not come only to buy. He approached and said, "My son, I came to remind you of your marriage to the daughter of the princess, and I will give you a large piece of land, farming equipment you never imagined in your life, and many things that will help your work. Just agree to the marriage." Al could not resist such temptations. He was overjoyed and said, "I agree. Let us complete the marriage today, even now." Rory burned with jealousy when she saw this, but the princess threw something strange at him that struck him and made him lose consciousness. In his faintness, he saw a strange woman standing before him saying, "Be careful, for we will meet soon." He did not understand what happened nor who that lady was. When he awoke, he said to the king, "We will speak about this matter later." After he had sold all his harvest, he went on his way, but he suddenly saw 2 men holding a small girl, accusing her of theft. One of them prepared to strike him with a knife, but Al said, "Calm yourself, man." Then with one strike he ended him, and in a moment he finished both of them. Then he turned to the girl he had defended and discovered that she was a demon. The girl looked at Il and said, "I want to save the rest of the demons." He was astonished and asked, "What is the matter?" She said, "I am the daughter of the Demon King, and one day, as I was playing in my room, Phoblan, the one my father had assigned to protect me, came and told me I was not safe here. Suddenly, he took me to another place, and I could not return again. That is why we must go quickly to save those who remain in the kingdom, for I feel something terrible has happened to them." Al said to her, "Do not worry. I will go with you and I promise we will save them. And you, Rex, take care of the crops until I return." Then he turned to her and said, "I have no money for transport to take you to the land of demons, but I know very well how I will do it." And so he carried her and ran across the surface of the water with astonishing speed, as though he walked with unnatural lightness until they reached the island of demons. The girl thanked Al for the journey, but he was looking at her, imagining she was Olivia, before his thoughts were cut short by the arrival of Phoblan, who looked at him with suspicion and murderous intent. But the girl quickly said, "This is Phoblan. He is the one my father assigned to protect me." Even so, he surprised them with a sudden attack. At the last moment, Al leapt, carrying the girl in his arms, avoiding the strike. With every new attack, he fled with lightning speed while protecting her, until he circled around with agility and struck a powerful blow that knocked Foblin to the ground. The girl was amazed at Al's strength, but he turned to her and said, "Forget about him now. Let us go to check on your father." But Foblin did not give up. He prepared his strongest strike to kill Al, and it seemed to be his end. But at the last moment, his mother appeared and struck Foblin with a single blow that defeated him completely. Al said in astonishment, "Where did you come from, mother?" She answered, "Rex told me everything, so I came to make sure you are safe." He said in amazement, "How wonderful you are, mother. I tried many times and could not hit him, yet you knocked him down with a single strike." Then he added, "Let us go and see what happened to the king." Indeed, they advanced until they reached the castle. There, their eyes fell on a horrifying scene. All the guards were slain, blood was everywhere, and the young girl trembled when she saw her father slain among them. She ran to him crying, but Al noticed that one of the guards was still alive. He rushed to him to ask what had happened. Before the guard could speak, his mother raised her sword to kill the daughter of the king, but Al blocked her at the last moment and cried out, "Who are you? Why are you doing this?" She said, "Shame on you, my son, to stand against your mother." He answered, "My mother, when she sees me, embraces me until she nearly breaks my back. You never did that. From the beginning I was certain you were not my mother. Show your true self." Suddenly her form changed, and she said, "Congratulations, you uncovered me easily, clever boy. But you will be surprised when you know who I am." Al was deeply shocked, for those were the very words Olivia had always called him. The greatest surprise came when she appeared before him herself. He could not believe his eyes and said in astonishment, "Are you truly Olivia? How are you still alive? Did you not die and I buried you with my own hands? How can you be here?" She smiled mockingly and said, "No, my man, I stand before you, and the credit goes entirely to the Queen of Demons. Prepare yourself well, for I will make you kneel." She rushed to kill the king's daughter, but Al blocked her and protected her. His strength this time was immense, and with one strike he destroyed the entire castle. Her true power was now revealed, and Al was completely shocked by her new self. Olivia approached and said to him, "Though you have not yet released the evil power inside you, you are strong as well. Did you not notice your power numbers increasing clearly? Did you not realize your strength surpasses any of your companions? Do you think such a thing happens so easily?" Her words came one after another, each time giving him new proof, until he began to believe her and did not know what to do. But he awoke to himself and said to her, "No, there is no evil power inside me." But she answered angrily, "There is, and you must join our side to release all the power inside you. Do you not wish to become strong?" She was about to control him completely, but the king's daughter spoke to distract her. Olivia grew furious, seized her, and was about to kill her. Al tried to intervene to help her, but Olivia used her magic on him, holding him in place. She said, "Accept the power of the Dark Lord inside you. Believe me, I will let you live, and I will spare this girl's life. Have you decided to accept it, or shall I kill her now?" She was about to kill the king's daughter, but at the last moment Al lunged toward her, and the pendant he wore shone brightly. A strange thing happened in the place. Time itself stopped around him. He did not understand what was happening. Suddenly the woman he had seen in his dream appeared and said, "I am the Lady of Light. I came to save you from the evil power inside you." She took his hand to give him a great energy that flowed through his whole body, saying, "Always stand against evil and never bend." Then she disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Al's power flared suddenly, and he used his new strength against Olivia. He raised huge plants from the ground to bind her, but she shattered them easily and laughed mockingly, saying, "Come, show me your maximum weak one. It seems you are worthless." She rushed to kill him, but he created a strong shield of plants that blocked her. Not only that, he bound her again, this time with complete control. At that moment, the princess's servant arrived and struck Olivia with all his might, for she had been the one controlling him from the start. But unfortunately, his strike did not affect her at all. She appeared again and dashed like lightning, knocking Foblin away with one strong blow. Then she advanced toward Al, trying to kill him, but at the last moment he cried out, "Wait, I want to know what changed you like this. Have you forgotten our days together to such a degree? How did you become like this?" Olivia was moved by his words and said to him, "Enough, I will leave now, and I hope that our next meeting will be when we are alone, and then we will talk about everything." Then she left him and disappeared from the place. As soon as she vanished, Foblin exploded in anger and said to him, What is your relation with that girl? Are you the reason for what happened to us? But the princess intervened to explain that Al was the one who had saved her, and she said, enough, leave him alone. At that moment, the king arrived, still alive. He looked at Al and said, enough, my son. It is enough that he saved my daughter. Listen to him first to know what happened. Then he turned to Al and said, I thank you greatly for what you did, but I want to know who that girl is and what your relation with her is, and why she was attacking us. Al answered, sadly, she is my beloved. We were friends since we were children, we grew up together, but I thought she had died and her matter was finished. Then he told the king everything in detail, and the king himself could not comprehend how she had returned alive again. But the king was touched by his words and said to him, do not worry, I believe you, and if I know any information about her, I will inform you. After that, Al bid them farewell and left, and the day ended on that. The next day, Al was walking alone, drowned in thought about Olivia's words. He had noticed that her words were true. His strength was indeed increasing without limit, and he did not understand what was happening to him. Much of what she said to him was true. Then an idea struck him. Yes, the cave that I went to with my friend Testa before. Surely this cave holds a secret. Perhaps that dragon that appeared to me was the Dark Lord, and when he swallowed me, he was not killing me, but giving me his power. If Olivia's words are true, then this is the explanation, he added. But no one can help me in this matter except my friend Testa. He went to him and told him everything from the beginning to the end. Testa was shocked and said to him, are you mocking me, man? How can Olivia, whom we buried with our own hands, still be alive? No, she even gained the power of the Dark Lord as well. Al replied, the problem is that she tells me I too possess the power of the Dark Lord since the day I fell inside the cave. Perhaps she is right. The disaster is that I lost consciousness at that time and do not remember what happened, nor do I know how they took me out from there in the first place. So I came to you hoping you remember something, but Testa answered, sadly, I also remember nothing, but do not worry. Tomorrow we will go together there and understand everything that happened. Their conversation ended on that. After leaving him, Al went to Helen to tell her what happened. She said to him, I want to see your statistics screen. When he opened it for her, she was shocked and said, by the way, your stats have decreased a lot. He spoke to himself. How? How did my strength decrease? I have lost the skill love of nature. How did this happen? This is the same skill Olivia told me about. Of course, he had lost it because of the power of the Lady of Light that had been given to him, and he did not know whether to rejoice or to be sad. He said to her, do not worry, Helen, I will push myself and train more and more until I restore my stats as they were. At that moment, while they were speaking, Rex came carrying a new letter from his mother. Il read it quickly. At the beginning were, as always, words of longing and yearning, but they did not catch his attention, for he focused on the important part of the letter, where she wrote to him, I know you are going through very hard times, but you must know, my son, that everything you have gone through, and all that you have learned until now, is worth nothing compared to what awaits you. There are many things you must know. Do not worry, I will try to tell you everything you need. Just spare one day and come to me. Il read the letter and said, what exactly does my mother know? And how is Olivia still alive? And who is this Dark Lord she spoke about? Many questions, with no answers, leaving everything hanging for what will be revealed in the second season, which has not yet been produced. And here, our story ends. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like and subscribe. Farewell.